What's up, YouTube? It's Cholulas Comics, and I'm here bringing you my top 50 comics tag video. So, actually, a couple disclaimers before I start getting into the books here. Really quick, disclaimer number one. Um, Man, I wish this was like my tried and true, authentic, 100% top 50 books, but it's not. And the reason being is a big chunk of my collection is actually out at CBCS. I had a really good con season this year, and I got a lot of my books, a lot of my keys, a lot of my grails, a lot of just my favorite books in my collection. I got the opportunity to meet some creators this year, get them signed, and send them off to CBCS. So it's gonna be quite a fucking while before I get my stuff back. So disclaimer number one. Next, disclaimer number two. I know we're only showing top 50 books, and I have 50 books. These here in the background, as you guys know, I like to set up my background with kind of like how do you say it? A theme, right? So my theme in the background is grails that I don't have yet. Granted, there is a Marvel Zombies. I have the entire collection of Marvel Zombies. If you guys seen my videos before, that's a huge part of my collection. There's some of my favorite books. One of them did make it to my top 50 grails, or excuse me, my top 50 books. These, however, did not. I didn't want to show a ton of books that I've shown in the past. I didn't want to show a huge set. As you guys know, this Marvel Zombies, it has a bunch of variants. I mean, I would have showed 12 covers. I would have knocked off 12 books right there. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. But I am showing these off because they're really important books. They're really important covers to me that are being cover swiped. So on the left here is Marvel Zombies #1, the regular cover, which is a cover swipe of Amazing Fantasy #15. I wish someday I could own that book. The next one is also Marvel Zombies #1. It is a cover swipe of Incredible Hulk #1. Again, another book I wish I could fucking own someday. Right next to it is Marvel Zombies #2, which is an Avengers #4 cover swipe. And to the right of that, I have Marvel Zombies #4, and that one is a cover swipe of X-Men #1. So those, in a way, I'm kind of just showing off some books that I wish I could show off in my top 50 collection, and I mean the original books. But anyways, that's, I just wanted to explain the theme that I had going on here. Anyways, let's get into the books. Let's get into my top 50 here. Now that I ate up a bunch of time already. #1 in my collection, I'm showing off Pablo's Inferno #1. It is signed by the author and artist Rode Montijo, who is, like myself, a Stockton, California native. This is a great book. It's a great series. It's one of 5, I believe. Actually, I think the series ended up going 6 issues. And I got to meet him at WonderCon when it was still here in San Francisco. Really cool dude. As a matter of fact, I think I might have told this story before, but I had seen that he had done a comic quite a while when I was still living in Stockton. Years and years go by. I mean, I had been looking for the set. I've been looking for the books. I'd been looking for him. No luck until I finally ran into him at WonderCon. I had no clue he was going to be there. I had run all out of money by the time I made it to his booth. Such a nice guy that he gave me the whole set of books, signed them for free because he saw I was such a fan. Like, I was super pumped to meet the dude. But I couldn't let him go for free. I ended up running across the street to an ATM, pulling out some money and saying, man, thank you so much for your hard work. I didn't want to do him like that, especially not a fellow Stocktonian. Anyways, Pablo's Inferno #1. Next, I have a copy of X-Men #40. The X-Men meet Frankenstein's monster. This is one of the oldest X-Men books that I've had in my collection for quite a while. As a matter of fact, it just got beat out by X-Men #38, which I recently purchased off of Lord of the Longbox TiVo. Shout out TiVo. But this is Frankenstein, man. I love Frankenstein. I love the X-Men, and just wanted an opportunity to get to show off my Frankie. So next, I have X-Men #137. As you guys know, this is the final story. I think it's like part 9 of the Dark Phoenix saga. Dark Phoenix dies. Love the cover art. Love the story. Great story. All right, next. Oh, okay, here we go. See, I'm mixing it up. I got a little bit, got a little indie, got a little old school X-Men, got some newer school Chris Claremont X-Men, and now I got Phoenix Resurrection #1, X Factor Marvel Girl, which is the J. Scott Campbell edition. I'm not a huge variant chaser, a huge variant fan. I like Campbell. I like his work. Not everything, but I'll tell you, this is a set that I missed out on when it first came out, and it is a set that I went and actually ran back and chased down and have all of the issues in that set. But I don't want to show them all off because this video would be 1,000 minutes long. All right. Next, I have the Black Panther #1 Welcome to Oakland variant. It is also the Virgin variant. As you can see, it doesn't say Black Panther #1 anywhere on there. You can see the cranes. You can see the Oakland Marina. Black Panther #1 Cape and Cow Virgin variant. It's a second printing. The first printing did have Black Panther on it, but beautiful book. Next, Wolverine #1 needs no introductions. One of my favorite books in my collection. Have 3 copies of it. This is probably my best copy. A book that for years when I was a kid, never even thought I would be able to own. Now I do. Wolverine #8, guest starring the Incredible Hulk as Mr. Joe Fixit. Great book that I have in my collection. Next, another great storyline, Marvel Comics presents Weapon X. This is #79. The Weapon X storyline, you guys, starts on issue 72, I believe. And it runs about 12 issues. So I want to say it goes to like 84, 85, something like that. Next is Origin #1, The Hill. Covered by Joe Quesada, one of my favorite cover artists. Really underrated in my opinion. Doesn't get as much kudos as he deserves. And it's just a book that is like really, it goes in line with what we're looking at. Weapon X starts some of the Wolverine storyline. It starts telling some of his backstory, some of his history, his origin, and then Origin takes you all the way back to the beginnings. I mean, as a Wolverine fan, I mean, he first debuted, what was it, 1973? I wasn't even around yet. But as a kid, you know, it's like, hey, where's Wolverine from? Where did he come from? So when this finally came out, dude, I was at the shop every freaking week waiting for the new one to come out. Is it out yet? Is it out yet? Is it out yet? Reading this one as it went along. This is one of the few books that the story, I did not collect the entire series before I read it. I read this one issue by issue by issue and reread just because it's just freaking storyline that I waited forever for it to come out. All right, quick pause. And we're back, continuing with some more Wolverine goodness. This is Wolverine from the 3rd series, #66. This is not the first appearance of Old Man Logan, but it is the first full-on storyline of Old Man Logan. Next, Civil War #1. This is a book that I really love because before this, I never gave a shit about Captain America. And when Cap went ham on the government and on S.H.I.E.L.D. and did the right thing, I was like, man, Cap is dope. I'm with it. Next, King Size Special, Incredible Hulk #1. Hulk battles the Inhumans. Great classic Jim Steranko there. Next, Incredible Hulk #102. This is the first continuation of the Incredible Hulk storyline. As we all know, Incredible Hulk 1 through 6 started, then it ended. He picked it back up in Tales to Astonish. I want to say 59. And then the story continues here in 102. Next, Incredible Hulk #122. And this is just beautiful cover art. And anytime the Incredible Hulk battles Thing, I'm all over it. I'm with it. I'm in it to win it. Next, Incredible Hulk #340. Classic Todd McFarlane cover. Next, shout out Jeff Johnson. Gotta give the cousin a love. Gotta give Incredible Hulk's Prima some love. She-Hulk #1. Last Stan Lee appearance. Last Stan Lee straight up creation. Next, Amazing Spider-Man #300. One of these days, this beautiful book too. I got it. This is in amazing condition. One of these days, I'm gonna get this and this both signed by Tom McFarlane. Gotta do one of those private signings one of these days. Anyways, next. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 7. Incredible detail by Mr. George Perez right here. One of these days, I want to meet him and get him to sign that as well. Love the entire series. Just happens to be my favorite cover in that series. All right, we'll be back. All right, next for you variant guys. This is the Virgin variant. Lobo's face up close, smoking a stogie. Justice League America number 1. I believe it's Matina, but again, I'm not a huge variant guy, so if you guys know, feel free to correct me. Bit of some of this glare. It's an all black cover. Can't help it. Anyways, next. Brightest Day, Green Lantern, number 55. This is also a variant. Lobo, again, the main man with all the power rings. Next, Batman, number 497. The Breaking of the Batman was just a huge issue in its time, you know. Definitely overprinted. Definitely, there's a bunch of these floating around. It's not a huge. It's not going to cost a whole lot of money to buy one of these books. I mean, on the high end, it's going to be like $12-15 unless it's gone up. You know, you could still get lucky and find these in the dollar bin once in a while. I mean, like I said, it was printed a whole bunch, but it's just something that takes me back. I have a fondness for it. I remember when it came out. I remember buying it off the shelf. And I remember losing it, and this is my new copy of it. All right. Next, Batman, Death of the Family. This is number 13 from the New 52 series. This is the beginning of one of my favorite storylines written by Scott Snyder, drawn by Greg Capullo. I recently got to meet Scott Snyder. I got another one of these copies signed by him. And I think he signed it here in red, and it says haha. But it's off at CBCS getting graded, so here's my backup copy. Next, I have Justice League of America, the 0 issue. And this one is super important because what's that? What's that right there? Michael Turner's signature. Shout out to Evan. Evan, I got this off of an auction when he was selling it. So shout out to Evan, man. Thank you so much for that. Next, my copy of The Killing Joke. No Batman fan, no Joker fan should be without one. Love The Killing Jokes. Great copy, too. And finally, for my set of Raw books, I have Batman Vengeance of Bane. First appearance of Bane. Number 1, it's a 64-page special written by Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. I love Bane. That's another one of my favorite Batman villains. So, all right, let's pause it and get to some graded books. All right, so the first 25 books out of the 50 were all my top 25 raw ungraded books. Next is going to be my top 25 graded books. And I broke them down into subsections. So these first 6 books I'm going to show you are really important to me because they're not for me. These are books that I got for my kids. So that's Spider-Man the Clone Conspiracy, Dead No More number 1 at a 9.8, and Planet Hulk at a 9.8. And as you can see, got them signed and sketched by the great Neil Adams. This one is to my daughter, Elisa. This one is to my son, Jonathan. And couldn't forget the baby, Esperanza. So Neil actually did all of these sketches for all of my kids. Neil Adams to Esperanza, and that's a Mohawk Storm there. All right, so those are the first 3 that I got for my kids. Next, no kids collection could be complete without some Stan Lees. So I got Tales to Astonish. As you can see, Jonathan likes him some Hulk. So this is the first appearance of Hulk in the title series, and it's his first appearance since his 1 through 6 ongoing series. So Jonathan and I got to go meet the great Stan Lee, got it signed by him, and it came back a 6-0. Next, for Esperanza, the baby, I got her X-Men number 14, first appearance of the Sentinels, signed there by Stan Lee. And finally, for Elisa, this is a placeholder. This is Marvel Zombies number 1, signed by Arthur Sudam. And the reason this is a placeholder is because I have The cover swipe of this is Amazing Spider-Man number 50, which is Spider-Man No More, where he gives up being Spider-Man, which is also the first appearance of the Kingpin. And me and Elisa got to go meet Stanley, and we got it signed by Stanley. And currently, that book is out getting graded. So, here's my placeholder, just for the sake of the video. That's the only book that I did a placeholder for, but I thought it was appropriate being that this stack is broken out for my 3 kids. They all get a book special signed to them, for them, by the great Stan Lee and the great Neil Adams. Next, I got a set of books that are slabbed. Really got into my commissions this year, this past couple of years actually. So I have a Champions number 1 at a 9.8. Beautiful Hulk there, done by the great Ron Wilson. Next, Marvel Age of Ultron versus Marvel Zombies. I got a zombie Wolverine there by Arthur Sudan. Next, I have a Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. There's a great Batman the animated series sketch done by local inker Mick Gray, who does a ton of work on the Batman and Robin series, and I think he does work on Super Sons as well currently. So cool guy, really cool guy. Finally, I have my Death of X. It's an 8.5. This is done by Joe Rubinstein. It's a cover swipe of Wolverine number 1, but instead of Wolverine, it's more in the likeness of an old man Logan. Okay, let me pause here. All right, picking it back up here with one of my top books in my collection, Marvel Zombies number 5, rated 9.4, and signed by Arthur Sudan. I love this cover. I love the original. I love me some cover swipes. And this one is actually really super important to me. It is the first book in my Marvel Zombies series that I had graded and that is signed. It's actually my first signed book ever. And my wife bought me this. She bought me this, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. And she bought it for our anniversary. Or, I don't know, was it like her 7th, 6th wedding anniversary, something like that? So it was really cool. And it actually, that's what sparked my interest in wanting to complete the series, complete the set. So I got to meet Arthur Sudan. As you can see, I have the rest of the books there. And that's what got me wanting to complete that whole set and meet him. So, yeah, man, shout out my wife. All right, next. This is Star Trek, number 18. It's a 9.8, and that little black blob right there that you can hardly make out is signed by John Byrne. Shout out, man, to Celos 189. Celos hooked me up with that book. And, man, that's just an amazing book to have in my collection. John Byrne is kind of a recluse. He doesn't like making a lot of appearances, so honestly, I wish I could get him on some X-Men stuff, but I don't know if that's ever going to be the case. So, Celos hooked me up, man. That's the homie right there. Good looking out, Celos. All right, next, a little bit of some nostalgia here. This is Omega Man, number 3, first appearance of Lobo. And this has got some nostalgia to it because when I first joined the comic community, a big thing that was going around was finding out what your birthday book is. And this is my birthday book, and it's really cool because Lobo's always been a character that I've liked, that I was interested in. As a kid, I really shouldn't have been, but I used to buy all the Lobo books. I mean, there was a lot of graphic gore and like adult jokes in there that were not appropriate for kids, but man, I was buying them and I enjoyed it. So to see that a character that I gravitated towards as a kid was actually also my birthday book, and his first appearance was the debut, which was June in 1983. It's fucking dope, man. So that's definitely a book that holds a lot of nostalgic purposes for me. All right, speaking of nostalgia, New Teen Titans, number 1. This is not the first appearance of the Teen Titans. I do have that book, and I got it signed recently. It's a DC Comics Presents number 26, and I got it signed by Jim Starlin. That was also off at CBCS getting graded, but, you know, for me, this is one of the next best things. Some great Perez cover art right there. Love me some Perez. And speaking of some cover art, I have Wonder Woman number 19 to 9.6. And it is sketched by the one and only Eddie the Comic Guy, you guys. And I came up with this loose idea for the the cover art, and it's actually a wraparound. So I got Lobo in the front. He's saying "So bondage, huh?" Because we all know that Wonder Woman is uh, well known for her bondage covers. And in the back, we got a cool Wonder Woman with a cool glowing lasso of truth, and she's saying "Bite me, fanboy," which we all know is Lobo's catchphrase. So they're kind of playing at odds end of each other. So pretty cool book. Good looking out. Eddie the comic guy. All right, we're getting near the end, you guys. Next, I have my Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, Bruce Timm variant, signed by Bruce Timm. One and only time I got to meet Bruce Timm. Don't know if I'll try to meet him again. Was kind of a pain in the butt to meet him, to be honest with you. But well worth it. I got my book signed. I actually have one more book that should be on its way, hopefully soon. Anyway. All right, next I have X-Men number 4, which is the first appearance of Omega Red. It's a 9/4, and it is signed right there by the one and only Jim Lee. Beautiful book, beautiful cover art. It's a first appearance. It's a lightweight key issue. I'm into it. I don't have any other Jim Lee signatures. I'm all about getting signatures now. Huge shout out to Erod. Erod is the one that hooked me up with this book on a little side deal. Gave me a great price. So good looking out, Erod, because I now have a Jim Lee signed book in my collection because of you. Thanks very much, brother. Next, another Black Panther comic. This is Black Panther number 2. This is the Run the Jewels debut album homage cover, and it is signed by Brian Stelfreeze. Brian Stelfreeze is not the artist of the cover. The artist of the cover artist is Raza, but he did the interior art. So Run the Jewels is an amazing rap duet. If you guys don't know who Run the Jewels is, just turn this video off right now. Go check them out. Run the Jewels is a shit. Next, Captain America Annual number 8. This is just a great cover that I always wanted in my collection, and I finally tracked down, and I got to meet Mike Zeck, and Mike Zeck signed my book, so I was stupid pumped to add this to my collection, especially in a 9/6, seeing as how I bought it raw, pressed it myself, and got the man to sign it. Next, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 1, signed by Mike Zeck at a 9/4. And we can't do a Marvel Superhero Secret Wars without having number 8 in the mix, right? Gotta have that first origin of the alien symbiote costume, right? Signed by Mike Zeck right there in navy blue. I know the video doesn't show that it's navy blue, but man, you guys, it looks really cool against the black background of the costume. Like it pops. All right, last stack of books coming up. All right, you guys, last 4 books, I promise. And if you guys know me, you know what kind of collector I am. You know what's coming up next. It's some Wolverine goodness. My number 1s are actually off being graded. But I got the next best thing to a number 1, Wolverine number 2, appearance by the Silver Samurai, Jessica Drew. And the back cover art is pinup art that's done by the great Bill Sienkiewicz, which I got signed. So stupid pumped to have this in my collection. Bill Sienkiewicz, for me, is the man. He's one of the best cover artists. Just one of the best artists there is around. I really love his work. Speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, had to get him again on this issue of Wolverine number 10. Sabretooth appearance. This is the first time that Sabretooth appears in the Wolverine storyline. This is like one of the first established fights that they've ever had. Now, it's not it's not the first fight ever printed, but this is an origin. This is a history. So they're going back and they're retelling one of their first fights that they ever had. So this is actually a really important book to me. And actually, let me show off the back pinup art as well. You know what? I'm going to turn this one around because I got Billy Bill's signature on the back. So we'll show Sienkiewicz there real quick. And we'll show this off too. And that's why I love this series, is because for the first 10 books, you get all this great back pinup cover art instead of having ads on the back of these books. All right, next. This one's a huge book for me, you guys. This is an amazing book for me to finally have to my collection. It's Wolverine number 145. It's the Nabisco wraparound cover variant. These are like far and few between, very hard to find. The importance of this issue is you get the adamantium is re-injected into Wolverine after he loses it. We got Apocalypse, we got Hulk, we got Sabretooth, and the Scroll all make an appearance. And this wraparound is the 21st anniversary issue. And this freaking bad boy right here, you guys, is a 9-2 signed by Bill Sinkovich, Eric Larson, Herb Trimp, who I never, ever, ever thought I was going to be able to get a signature by. And I mean, I can't now, may he rest in peace, as well as Len Wein. May he rest in peace. But both of them are on here. I got Stan Lee, and they're all on the front cover, and on the back cover. And I even have Bill Sinkovich. He did a sketch here. And on the back, I have Linnell Francis Yu and Dexter Vines with a sketch as well. So this is an amazing, amazing book for me to finally add to my collection. Huge book. And finally, you guys, I can't end my top 50 books being a Wolverine fan and any kind of respectable Wolverine fan without showing you guys my Incredible Hulk number 181. I do have the whole series, the whole set, which is 180. First cameo appearance, 181. First full appearance, and 182, which ends the storyline. I do have all 3 books, but we got to limit it to 50 books. So, you guys, that's been my top 50 books that are in my collection as of today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. It was kind of long, it was long-winded, but I wanted to show off what I had and explain to you guys why these books are important to me. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna let it do what it do. You know who it is. It's Cholulas Comics. Until I see you next time, keep stacking hell comics.